Hey everyone, welcome to your first practice with me. Today we're going to have a practice full of basic yoga poses. I like to teach with a lot of explanation, so I hope that you find it useful in learning a little more detail about each of these poses as we go through. I've got a little checklist of things that I would like to talk about before we get into the practice, and then we'll get started. So the first thing I like to teach my students is child's pose. Child's pose is a posture that you can take whenever you need to during any practice, whether you're in a studio or at home. Child's pose is for rest. So if you are tired or maybe a little, dizzy or just not feeling it for whatever reason, you are always welcome to take child's pose until you can get back into your practice. So what does child's pose look like? There are some variations, but the most common child's pose is probably wide angle child's pose. To find wide angle child's pose, you will take your knees to about mat width and then toes together, sit back on your heels, and then reach your hands out in front of your body, lower your chest and head down toward the mat. For child's pose, arm positioning is kind of preferential, whatever feels best to you. You can have your arms long and extended. That's kind of more of a shoulder stretch. Sometimes I like to take my hands together, elbows apart in child's pose. It's more of a resting for my upper body. With your lower body, sometimes child's pose is taken with your knees together, and that would look like this. In this posture, sometimes people prefer to put their arms behind them. Whichever child's pose posture you choose, stay in it as long as you need to. Hop back into your practice when you're ready. All right, next thing. I like to teach a modified chaturanga as an offering for any of your practices moving forward. Chaturanga is incredibly common in a yoga practice, but it is difficult to perform properly, and sometimes you're just not feeling it. Maybe you're still working on strength to do it properly. It's better to do it modified until you are strong enough to perform it properly than to struggle through it and maybe compensate in other areas of your body. So what is chaturanga? Chaturanga is a yoga posture where you begin in a high plank. So if I stack my shoulders over my hands and press into a high plank, chaturanga would be where you shift forward onto your toes and lower down about halfway. So shift forward, lower down. In this chaturanga position, my elbows are almost stacked over my wrists, and then you would often come through to a cobra or an up dog. However, lowering down into that halfway position is very challenging for your triceps. Not everyone has the strength. That's totally fine. I will teach a modified chaturanga through our practice today, and to do that from your high plank, I would ask you to simply lower your knees, untuck your toes, keep your hips forward like on a diagonal, and then lower down here, okay? So for that modified chaturanga and for any chaturanga, elbows are in tight. Some of the common mistakes through chaturanga are when your elbows are flaring out to the side, shoulders are coming up to your ears, or you're dumping into your lower back. It can look like this. So here, here, or maybe here. Those are all things we would like to avoid in a proper chaturanga. And if you feel yourself doing that, always have the option to modify from your knees, okay? All right. Today, I don't have any props. You do not need any props, but if you would like yoga blocks, you're always more than welcome to use those during your practice. Let's see. My teaching style is very explanatory, and I will do my best to demonstrate the postures as we move through them today. But if I happen to pause, come out as I am right now, please continue your practice. Stay in whatever posture you're in. I am just wanting to talk you through it a little bit more, and it's really difficult to teach and demonstrate every single posture. So it's not as if I'm doing the entire practice with you. So stay with it as much as you can if I'm chatting with you. All right, last posture that I would like to talk about before we get started. Shavasana is a resting posture. It's your final rest. Most yoga classes will end with a Shavasana. It's a quiet period, but you do have some options. So the traditional Shavasana posture, it's known as corpse pose. So traditionally, you would lay back, open your legs slightly, turn your palms to the ceiling and allow your arms to be away from your body. Close your eyes and find your final rest here. This is a time when you let your mind go. Don't worry about your breathing. It's the most important part of your practice. If that traditional corpse posture is not for you, and it might not be, that is totally fine. You have some options. So if I get you in Shavasana and you don't like that posture, you could take feet together, knees apart, and recline here. This is reclined Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. You could keep your knees to the ceiling, feet flat, and either here or allow your knees to fall against one another. You could take your Shavasana in a fetal posture on your side, here. You could take your Shavasana in a seated posture, cross-legged, however is comfortable for you. All right, so those are your options. Do not feel as if you need to find that traditional corpse pose. All right, from there, we are going to get started. For this practice, I'm trying to include as many common yoga postures as possible. So it's a little unconventional in that manner, but I will have you begin in a reclined position today so that we can be present and turn our mind inward before we start our physical practice. So go ahead and find a reclined posture. Just like the Shavasana that I just talked you through, it can be any of those options. But maybe if you're in that reclined posture, it feels good to take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And while you're here, try to deepen your breath. In yoga, we like to talk about the connection between breath and movement. A deep, regular breath can be very beneficial to your mind-body connection. So as you're breathing here, on your inhale, take note of how your rib cage is expanding. Think 360-degree expansion, so around the entirety of your rib cage. That might mean that you're feeling the floor support your body as you inhale. And then as you exhale, make sure you're emptying all the way. You might begin to take a full body scan as you're here, taking note of how you feel today. Maybe starting at the top of your head. Moving down your cervical spine toward your shoulders, through the thoracic spine, down through the lumbar, toward your legs, your hips, knees, ankles. Let's take 3 more full breaths here. On your third exhale, go ahead and begin to draw your knees in toward your body. Hug them into a nice tight ball. Maybe you wrap your arms around your shins. And you can find some gentle side-to-side motion here. You might pause, center, lift your forehead. Just find some compression through your hips. And while we're here, I'll have you hold onto your right leg and extend your left leg long down the mat. So here we're beginning to open through your hips. You're compressing the knee that is in toward your chest and allowing some stretch through the front of the opposite hip. But if this is too much for you, you're always welcome to bend that knee, place the foot flat on the floor. You might move that right knee outside of your rib cage to find a deeper stretch. Now that we're here, begin to extend your right leg. Take your hands behind it toward the ceiling. Find a hamstring stretch. You can find some ankle circles in both directions. And then bend the knee and extend the leg. A few times. You might play with a flex with a point of the foot. Let's do one more bend and extend. And then I'll have you bend that right leg. Go ahead and take hold of your right leg with your left hand. Reach your right arm out from your shoulder and then draw that right knee across your center line. Find a gentle twist here. Starting with some spinal rotation. Maybe your gaze goes to that opposite hand. Just a couple of breaths. Make sure you're still expanding the rib cage in all directions. And then you can use your hands to support as you bring that right knee back towards center. Give it one last hug, and we'll switch sides. So right leg long, left leg in. Right leg is nice and heavy. Breathe into any areas that feel tight. We'll begin to straighten that left leg toward the ceiling. Hands can be behind the thigh. Maybe you're super flexible and you can bring them up toward your calf. But while you're here, find some ankle circles. Head is relaxed. And then we'll bend and extend that left leg. So this is waking up the back of your leg. Last one. We'll bend that left knee, right hand outside the left leg, left arm reaching long, draw it across the center line. Breathe. And then you can bring that left leg back towards center, both knees hug in. This time we'll find rocking front to back. So hands can be outside your knees, knee bit behind the thighs. Take your time. We're not in a rush. You can massage your spine here. And we'll come all the way up over our shins and meet in a tabletop position. In that tabletop, your shoulders are stacked over your wrists, hips are stacked over your knees. Now that we're in tabletop, we'll move through some cat-cows, incredibly common in a yoga class. To begin your cat-cows, go ahead and allow your navel to fall toward the floor. Lift your gaze slightly and pull your shoulders back, shining your heart forward. This is cow position. We'll move into cat by lifting the navel, rounding through the upper back, pressing into your hands and your shins. And then back into cow. Inhale in cow. Exhale as you move toward cat. Now, of course, there are some variations through this. Move with your own breath. The variations might be to tuck your toes on your cow and then flatten your feet on your cat. If you ever forget which one you're supposed to inhale during and exhale during, I like to think about on a normal exhale, I draw my navel in. So exhale during cat, inhale as we expand the rib cage. Let's just do a couple more. And then we'll pause with a neutral spine here And go ahead and we'll move into our first down dog of the practice. So to get into your down dog, I'll have you from tabletop, tuck your toes under, take a soft bend of your elbows and keep them in toward your sides. So they want to turn out, but keep them in. Fingers are spread nice and wide, so like jazz hands. Then we'll press into the hands, press into the feet, peel our hips up and back, and move into your first down dog. So in this down dog, especially during your first one, take a lot of movement by pedaling your legs. Bend one, bend the other. And then I'll have you slowly bring the knees back down to the mat and pause in a seated position. So I'd like to talk to you just a little bit through down dog. It's going to look different on everyone. Down dog can be a little challenging because it's technically an inversion with your head below your heart. The more you practice it, the more comfortable you'll get in it, so don't worry about that so much. Some people say down dog should be moving from your plank here. For me, that's a little long from hands to feet. You'll find the distance that works for you, so feel free to adjust. Please always adjust when you get into a position. But fingers are spread wide. You do not have to have your heels to the mat no matter what anyone tells you, but you're thinking of lifting your hips up and back. So let's get back into that down dog from tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, tuck the toes, bend the elbows, press into the hands and feet, peel the hips. Now, from this down dog, we'll take tiny little baby steps, moving our feet to our hands at the front of the mat. Take your time, and when you get there, find a forward fold at the front of your mat. So your head is heavy. Again, we're opening through the backs of the legs. You might find some movement, sway side to side. While you're here, think about flattening the back of your neck and shift your weight. So see if you're like way in your heels. Maybe you can bring it forward, side to side. All right, from your forward fold, we'll slowly begin to roll up one vertebra at a time. Take your time. When you get to standing, pause. In this standing posture, this is known as mountain pose. So I'll turn to face you so you can see my mountain here. Feet are about hip width, and then turn the palms forward, ground through your feet, grow tall through your spine. Some people think mountain pose is very passive, but it should be active. So that means pressing down into the floor, feeling your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings engage, maybe firming through your abdominals. Here. All right, moving back into my mountain at the front of the mat. From your mountain, I'll have you inhale and sweep your arms out to the side, lift them all the way up overhead. This is extended mountain pose. And then bring your arms back down to shoulder height. Begin to hinge from your waist. We're moving back into your forward fold. From your forward fold, go ahead and lift about halfway. So this is a halfway lift. We're thinking flat back, top of your head reaching forward, weight in the balls of your feet, so there's a tendency to shift backward. And then hands, if you're super flexible, maybe the tips of your fingers are on the floor. Mine tend to come to my shins. Yours might be at your thighs, totally fine. But we're thinking back flat as if you could balance a glass of water on it. From your halfway lift, we're going to fold and then plant your hands on your mat, step back to a plank, and immediately lower your knees down, untuck your toes. This is where we move through our modified chaturanga. So, untucking your toes, let your hips fall forward, elbows raise your rib cage as you lower down, chaturanga. Let's come all the way to your belly and hold your hands underneath your shoulders here. From your chaturanga, you will often find a cobra or an up dog. I'm going to talk you through the differences of those. Cobra, you would press into your hands and gently come into a small back bend. This is kind of a baby cobra here. Extended cobra, like full expression of the posture would be pressing into your hands and coming all the way to straight arms. For me, full expression of cobra sometimes is a little much on my lower back. So sometimes I will take a baby cobra early on in my practice. So if you are still on your belly here, go ahead and press up into a little baby cobra, see how that feels, and then lower back down. The second option from your chaturanga will often be an up dog. The difference between cobra and up dog is where your thighs are on the floor. So a baby cobra, a full cobra, and then up dog is where you're pressing to straight arms, but the thighs lift off of the mat here. So tops of your feet, straight arms. From your cobra or up dog, let's tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, find your down dog. And then we'll walk it forward nice and slow, finding a forward fold at the front of your mat. From your forward fold, go ahead and begin to sweep your arms out, up, reach them all the way overhead, extended mountain pose. And then bring those hands through heart center. So this is another variation of mountain. All right, we're at the front of the mat, hands at heart center. Let's go ahead and reach the arms all the way out, up overhead. Bring the hands through heart center, hinge from the waist, find a forward fold. On a halfway lift, flat back, fold, plant the hands, step it back. High plank, chaturanga from your knees, untuck the toes, lower down. Press into a cobra or an up dog, and then tuck the toes, come to down dog. All right, from this down dog, I'm gonna have you inhale as you look forward and step your right foot as far forward as you can, finding a lunge. If you need to step that foot forward a little more, you can use your hands. Go ahead and work it forward. We want the knee above the ankle. All right, this is a runner's lunge. And it's a little wide for the posture that we're going into. So from this right side runner's lunge, I'm gonna have you step that left foot forward a little bit and on a diagonal of about 45 degrees. So think left toes toward the front left corner of your mat. Keep the right knee bent and stacked over the ankle. Reach the arms forward up overhead. All right, this is warrior one. I want you to pause here and check your posture, and I'm gonna run you through this, okay? This right foot is pointed forward, knee is over ankle. This back foot is at about a 45, and then I want your feet to be about hip width. So remember, instead of having them on a tightrope, like stacked, separate them a little bit so you have some more stability, then reach the arms overhead, keep the knee bent. In your warrior one, stay where you are, I'm just talking you through it. Hips should be as far forward as possible. It is not possible on everyone to have them straight ahead, so your hips might look a little bit open, okay, that's totally fine. From warrior one, keeping that front knee bent, we are going to allow our hips to open to the side. Reach your arms out from your shoulders and maybe extend your stance a little bit to find warrior two. Another really common yoga pose, okay? In warrior two, knee stays stacked over ankle, foot stays at an angle in the back, arms are reaching, and maybe your gaze is over those front right fingertips. All right, this is our right side warrior two. We're gonna take a couple of breaths here. Maybe try to deepen, so you're strengthening the lower body. From your warrior two, take that back hand, cartwheel it forward to frame your right foot. Step back to a high plank, lower the knees, untuck the toes, move through your chaturanga to cobra or up dog, and then we'll meet in down dog. Great work. From your down dog, lift your gaze, step your left foot through. Find a left side runner's lunge. So we're going to repeat that same sequence on the second side to work the left side of your body. From this left side runner's lunge, right foot steps in a little bit because we're moving to that left side warrior one. So make sure your feet are hip width. Lighten your fingertips, reach them forward, up, overhead. Warrior one, left side. This may feel very different from your first side, okay? Totally fine. The two sides of our body are not exactly the same. From your warrior one, we're checking that the knee is bent over the ankle. There's a tendency to really arch through your lower back here, so maybe you try to pull your abs in and flatten here. We're moving from warrior one to warrior two by opening the hips to the side, reaching arms, and maybe lengthening your stance. Breathing in your warrior two. In warrior two, this knee may want to fall in. Keep it pressed out. Couple more breaths in your warrior two. Then take your back hand, cartwheel it forward, hands frame your left foot. You're on the ball of the back. Plant the hands, step that left foot back, lower the knees, move through your chaturanga to cobra or up dog. And then I'm gonna have you sit back in a child's pose. So you can open the knees or keep them together, your choice, lower the upper body. Go ahead and either stay in that child's pose or take a drink as I talk you through something real quick. We've done our first flow on both sides now. And when you're moving through flows in a yoga practice, sometimes they will say, move through your vinyasa. I just like to talk to my students about what that means in case you hear it in class and you're like, I don't know what a vinyasa is. So a vinyasa is moving from a high plank or a modified plank through your chaturanga to cobra or up dog, and often you will take it straight to down dog from there. So if I had you step back to plank and I said move through your vinyasa, it would look like this. Shift forward, lower down, come through to your up dog, to your down dog. Okay, so that is your vinyasa. I hope you've had a chance to grab a quick drink. We're gonna move through another flow on the right side and the left side. This flow will add in a balancing posture, and I will show you that real quick here. So just stay in your seated posture. The balancing flow we're going to move through is from a crescent lunge, which is back heel lifted, arms overhead, to warrior three, okay? Warrior three, you can keep your arms overhead, here, here, your choice, okay? From your crescent lunge, you'll shift forward, put all of your weight into that forward foot and float the back. Flex the back foot. This is warrior three. Hands might be here, okay? We're trying to keep the hips toward the floor rather than opening like this, okay? You've got a soft bend of your standing leg. Then from warrior three, we'll slowly plant that foot and move through our vinyasa, okay? So hopefully you are still down here near your child's pose, or maybe we just meet there. Find a child's pose. On an inhale, press into your hands, lift yourself up. We're going to move to tabletop, okay? So stack the shoulders, stack the hips, tuck the toes, press yourself into down dog, and then take baby steps towards your forward fold. From your forward fold, go ahead and plant your hands and step your left foot all the way back. So we're moving to a right side runner's lunge, okay? Remember, we're moving into that high crescent lunge, so make sure that you're stable. You might lighten your fingertips to make sure you're not gonna fall over. We'll sweep the arms forward, up, overhead, crescent lunge, right side. All right, from this right side crescent lunge, we're moving to warrior three. So think about where you're going before you go there, and then begin to shift your weight into that front foot, float the back, gaze is at the floor, think length. If you wobble, if you fall, totally fine to just get back in it, okay? It comes with practice, right? Okay, we're gonna hold for 2 more breaths in our warrior three. With control, that foot is gonna come back down toward the mat. We'll plant the hands, step it back, lower the knees, chaturanga, cobra or up dog. Down dog. Baby steps to the front. Forward fold at the front. From your forward fold, plant your hands, step your right foot back, so we're in a left side runner's lunge. Sweep the arms forward, up, overhead. This is left side crescent. And then left side warrior three. Begin to think about shifting into that front leg, floating the back. Warrior three, left side. Deep breaths, make sure you continue that regular full breath. Energy out your heel. Begin to lower the back foot down, finding your crescent. Then we'll plant the hands, step back to a high plank, and lower the knees down. Okay, coming to your seated posture. All right, we need to stretch out our bodies. You've worked pretty good for your first practice with me, learned some new postures. Let's go ahead and move to tabletop. And from your tabletop, I will have you lift the right knee, step the right foot outside your right hand, and then shift your left knee back. This is known as lizard pose, and I want you to think about the hips forward and heavy so that you're stretching through the front here. This right knee stays in toward your body, and then your gaze can be forward. If you'd like a deeper expression of this posture, you are welcome to lower down to one, maybe both forearms. This is a little deep for me, so I'm going to press back up to straight arms. But while we're here, we're just breathing. Static posture, trying to find space within our body. If you are on forearms, go ahead and press up to straight arms. Begin to walk your hands back toward your body and straighten that right leg. We're going to flex the right foot and maybe move it so that it's straight in front of your hip, finding a half hamstring stretch. It's a great place to use some blocks. If you don't have any, just try to be on your fingertips. Maybe you're up here. That would be just fine. Goal is to keep from collapsing your upper back and keep your heart shining forward. You should feel it in the back of that right leg, and we're thinking about toes in toward your body. A few more breaths. All right, take the hands back to the mat, walk yourself forward. We're gonna shift that right leg back into tabletop and take it to the left side. So from tabletop, left foot steps outside the left hand, right knee shifts back any amount, hips are heavy. Breathe into your left side lizard. Keep that left knee in toward your body. Maybe you're down on your forearms. Still focusing on your breath. 2 more full breaths. And then you'll begin walking the hands back as you shift your hips back, straighten your left leg, maybe move it toward the center a little bit. Flex your left foot, shift the hips back, breathe into the back of that left leg. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed rather than up here. You can have a soft bend of that left leg if it's too intense. Try to keep your right hip forward. Let's take 2 more full breaths. And then you can walk your hands forward. Find a seated position on your mat. So however you can get down that way. I'm going to turn to face you all so you can see me a little better. You can stay seated forward if that's for you. We are moving into butterfly pose, okay? So that's the most common name for it. The Sanskrit is Baddha Konasana, also known as bound angle. Soles of the feet together, knees wide, right? Your feet can be any distance away from your body that works for you, okay? Closer to your body, more intense, but you want to be able to sit up straight and really ground through your sits bones here, all right? So take your hands to your feet and maybe you open them like a book. You might be able to use your elbows to press into the thighs and open a little further, but I'd like you all to sit up straight first. Think pulling the top of your head to the ceiling. Take a couple of deep breaths. And we're gonna keep that spinal length as you begin to hinge from the waist. Feeling the stretch in your Baddha Konasana bound ankle. If this is too intense, you might be here, you might be here. You might even have some blocks under your thighs, up to you. I like to tell my students that in these stretching postures, sensation is welcome, especially if you're working on your mobility or flexibility. But if you ever feel sharp pain, that's too much. Make sure you back off at that point. Okay, one more breath. Gently roll yourself up to seated. Go ahead and take your hands and lift your knees. Place your feet flat on the floor. I'll turn back sideways so you can see me a little better. We're going to take one abdominal challenge here, moving through boat pose. So with your feet flat, go ahead and close the legs so there's no space in between them. Knees are to the ceiling. Hands come behind the thighs. And I'll show you a couple of options here. So keep the shoulders back, heart lifted. Begin to lower your torso back and come onto your tippy toes on the floor. So this is your most basic boat posture, okay? We're thinking V shape from top of the shoulders to the knees here. You might stay here on your toes. You might lift one or both shins. You might reach the arms forward. The furthest expression of boat pose is extending your legs and your arms. Very challenging, okay? So you might still be here, that's fine. Try to squeeze your legs together so there's no space in between them. And then we'll lower the feet, sit back up. Maybe open the knees to go through the hips a little bit. All right, so that was boat. We've got a few more postures and then you'll have your final Shavasana, okay? Bring those knees back up to the ceiling, feet flat. We're moving to a reclined posture here, so go ahead and reach your arms forward and slowly begin to recline down to the mat. I like to make sure that I stay on my mat. Once you get here, walk the feet in toward your hips and keep them about hip width. We are moving to bridge pose. So you'll reach the arms long, take the palms to the floor near your hips, and then keeping your knees about hip width, so not opening or closing. Hands to the floor, begin to press into your feet as you peel the hips up and off the mat. Bridge pose. Take a few breaths here. You're squeezing through your glutes. This is a back bend, heart opening posture. So we do a lot of forward folds in practice. It's nice to get some opposite heart opening postures. Let's take one more breath. And then we'll slowly lower it back down to the mat. Hug the knees into the chest. Find that tight ball position. All right, one final posture before Shavasana. We're moving to happy baby, okay? So from this ball position, open your knees outside your rib cage. Bring your feet toward the ceiling, and hands can come a number of places to find a contact point. I like to take peace fingers, 2 fingers around my big toes. Some people like to grab the outer edges of their feet. If you cannot reach that far, you're welcome to take your ankles, your shins, maybe just down here, okay? But the goal is to use the gentle weight of your hands to draw those knees down toward the floor and get a little hip opening, okay? You might find some side to side motion. I like to extend one or maybe both legs in my happy baby. ready, you can go ahead and hug those knees into your chest one last time. We are moving to Shavasana, so remember those options I talked about at the beginning. You're welcome to choose one of those. For me, I'm just going to choose traditional Shavasana by extending my legs, opening them toward the corners of the mat, allowing my feet to fall open, reaching my arms away from my body, palms to the ceiling in a receiving gesture, and then allowing my eyes to close. Once you have found your final Shavasana position, go ahead and stay there. I'm going to come talk to you while you are there. After you have a yoga asana practice, it is super important to take your final resting posture. So try your best to not practice physically without that final rest. It's super important for your body. So in your Shavasana, your eyes are closed. Think about relaxing your face, that area in between your eyebrows. Release your jaw. Allow your tongue to fall away from your teeth. Joints are heavy. In this final resting posture, you are welcome to stay as long as you like, but try to do at least a couple of minutes. I know it's a challenge these days with how fast our lives move and how little we find stillness, but it's a wonderful thing to be working on and improving as you practice, right? So eventually, maybe you work up to a 10-minute Shavasana. Maybe you don't. It's totally up to you. Okay, I hope that you got some good cues, some good postural information from this practice. Great work. Thank you for watching and for participating. I will see you again for our next practice.